Okay, so we finished up with we're talking about the relationships with Great Britain and France and the things that are coming up when we return. We're kind of looking at a few of the standards prior. So we looked at XYZ Affair, War of 1812, the Monroe Doctrine. These are some things that are going to affect America and their relationships. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can read it. Um, with Britain and France, so impressment. Um, when it happens for a long time, but we're just going to look at it and purposes of leading to the War of 1812. So it's prior to the War of 1812. The presidents are Adams, Jefferson, Madison. It happens then. It's forcing American seamen on captured ships. Now these can be merchant ships. Okay, it doesn't have to just be military ships. They capture the ship and then they take the men aboard and they force them to serve in the Royal Army. You say, how do they force them? How could, but imagine being out in the middle of the ocean. You got two choices: death or hope to survive and somewhat serve in the military. Okay. So, and really, what cause are you fighting? You feel so much isolation out in the middle of the ocean. If you've not been in the ocean, it can be very daunting to be that isolated. So, this was a very big deal to Americans. The Alien and Sedition Act, 1798, President John Adams will issue this. It basically is four laws. Overall, it restricts aliens at this time. That's just a term for immigrants, people from another country, and it made it illegal to print a bad opinion of the president or Congress. The Embargo Act of 1807. Jefferson, okay, he's the president. It had good intentions, and we're going to talk about all these in just a second. So I'm just defining them. It stopped imports of goods from other countries in order to help American business. It backfired, and it's going to end up hurting the United States. Sadly, they didn't think about the effects of what it would have. So let's look at impressments first. It will be a cause of the War of 1812. Huge cause. Americans were tired of this happening on the open seas, especially with merchant ships. Imagine owning a company that had to ship their cotton or, tobacco, any good that you're shipping, and you have to worry about your ship being taken over by foreign ships, and you're not military. Okay? It's really tough. In 1807, the Chesapeake and Leopard affair ended badly for the U.S. The Chesapeake will end up becoming part of the Royal Navy, and it almost caused war right then. There will be a compromise. Some of the men that impressed the ship will actually be hanged, but in the end, it's a major incident of impressment. Example of impressment. The Alien and Sedition Acts. John Adams was worried about the Federalist Party's power because Jefferson's party, remember the Democratic Republicans, are gaining power. Okay? He is, fueling in for the win, and Adams didn't want to lose. So he thought, okay, so I'll make this act. Well, I have Federalists in power to pass it. It violated the First Amendment of free speech. Okay? It says that the press can't talk bad about the president or Congress. So that's going to be a for everybody. Okay? And it's going to ultimately be the beginning of the end of the Federalist Party in America, because no one really gets behind that except Adam and, the people that knew the reasoning for it, which would be people that were really close to John Adams. So, not a good thing. Then we got the Embargo Act of 1807. It wasn't a good thing either. It was put into place to help the American merchants. Thought that if we stop the imports of goods into America, then it will force Americans to buy American goods. But it's going to backfire because other countries are going to do the same thing to us. They're going to embargo our goods, and we're not going to be able to sell our goods to other countries. So we didn't think about the effect that it would have on our country. So looking at, this is the relationship with the British and the French. And really, the Embargo Act is going to affect, a lot of countries. So, this kind of wraps that up a little bit, and kind of gives a prelude to what we will discuss when we start back with the War of 1812. So,